Hello and welcome to Miss Charlotte Astrology. My name is Charlotte. I'm a full-time working astrologer, and on this channel I analyze the astrological charts of public figures. And very often they are celebrities, and that is the case today, as I'll be analyzing the very messy synastry of pop star sensation Taylor Swift and her ex-rebound, Matty Healy. I have purchased the Tortured Poets department. I've had it in my car. I bought the CD. I love physical media because you can keep it forever. Do that, by the way, because they can wipe your collection of songs on streaming anytime they want. Buy physical media. It's going to come back. It's coming back. So I've been listening to it in my car. There's at least 4 songs I enjoy. Down Bad, which is a song about Matty Healy ghosting her and leaving her brokenhearted. But Daddy, I Love Him, about her begging her father and the whole world to just accept that she's in love with this ratty dude. I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, which is about her having to get on stage even though she's having a complete psychotic breakdown. Fantastic song. And what's the other one? Guilty as Sin, which is about her being with the English boy that looks like a puppy. Joe Alwyn. I did a synastry with him. Go check it out. Her and Joe Alwyn were still together, and she was having these fantasies about, hooking up with Matty Healy. What if he's written mine on my upper thigh, only in my mind? Oh, it's brilliant. Brilliant. 4 songs. Fantastic album. It grew on me. Not that I didn't like it. I was like lukewarm to it, and now I'm really warm to it. It's good. All right. So I wanted to have a look at their synastry. Taylor is the blue planet. She's the inner circle. Matty is the outer planet. He's the red circle. And I've put them together. I just want you to know we don't know Taylor's official birth time, okay? But I hear a lot that she's a Capricorn rising. I hear a lot that she's a Scorpio rising. Now, as a Scorpio rising myself, I see her being a Capricorn. Likely, I'm open to being wrong. So open to being wrong. It's fine if I'm wrong, but I see her more as Capricorn rising. She doesn't give me what Lana Del Rey gives me Scorpio rising. You know why I know that? Because I can see my own. Like, I'm a Scorpio rising, and Lana Del Rey is definitely that sad, mysterious girl vibe. She's got a lot of mystique. Lana Del Rey has a lot of mystique. A lot more than Taylor's. They're both vulnerable in their art, but Lana is just, she's a very brooding person. Taylor's not. When you see her in interviews, she's very blunt. She's very dry. Great sense of humor. Very funny woman. And having Mercury in her ascendant makes a lot of sense. Like, she's very media trained. She knows that she's a clear communicator, fantastic communicator. So that's why I'm going to go with that. I'm open to being completely wrong. So I'm going to have that at the front of my mind as I analyze this chart. So let's go through it. Matty Healy and Taylor Swift. Okay, so this is it. As you can see here, her Scorpio placements. I'm going to count this as a stellium. I know there's like 2 planets and 2 asteroids, but because there's more than 3 bodies in one sign, that is a stellium. That, if she is a Scorpio, if she is a Capricorn rising, she would likely have a Scorpio midheaven. Again, I'm open to being wrong, but that's what we're going to look at here. And that falls into Matty Healy's 7th house. So whether or not this is the correct birth time for Taylor, these planets and asteroids fall into his 7th house of partnership, which is really important because he did ghost her. And as a result, I think she made sure that people that their mutual connections knew about his whatever bad behavior, whatever poor behavior he conducted. So yeah, we're going to take a look at that. And then you've got these Cancer conjunctions with the Chiron. People born in 89, you guys have this Cancer and Chiron. So a lot of mummy stuff. Could also translate into like reproductive stuff. Maybe that's another video for another time. And then that's a very powerful conjunction. And then if she has a 4th house in Taurus, if she does, then his moon falls into her 4th house, which makes him feel like it's a very intimate placement. Someone has placements like a sun or a moon, like a personal planet in your 4th house, they're going to feel like home. They're going to feel almost like family. They're going to feel very intimate. And that's what if this is the correct time for Taylor Swift. That's likely what they have here with his moon. Yeah, with his moon in her 4th house. He's an Aries stellium in the 12th. You can see here. And it's intercepted, like a very lost vagabond of a man with very poor impulse control. He's a 12th house Aries. That scares the shit out of me. I'm an Aries myself. I'd rather be a 5th house Aries than a 12th house Aries. Oh my God. To those of you that have 12th house Aries placements, oh, you're brave ones. You're crazy ones. So there's a lot going on here. Let's go to the next slide, which is more focused. You taught me a language I can't speak with anyone else. To the Swifties, you know what song that's from, don't you? Illicit Affairs. Yeah, great song. Love it. So I'm going to focus on this Mercury, Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, Vesta include this whole conjunction here. So there's obviously a creative collaboration. Taylor's Mercury is in Capricorn. And it is a very practical Mercury, but because it's in a conjunction with very magical, malefic, very malefic generational planets. She has her mind, her Mercury, like on the pulse, like of humanity. Like she's able to channel. I do think that she is, I don't want to use the word psychic. That might be too woo-woo wah-wah or literal. Might be both of those things. I think of her as someone that's just very intuitive. She's literally, this is the genius placement. If you've got a Mercury in a conjunction with these planets, like you are someone that can think outside of the box. You can think beyond the borders. And that's what she does. And she's someone who has very, very clear visions of her future. She plans her life 2 years ahead. That's such a Capricorn, Mercury Capricorn thing to do. And it's all around her, it's all around creativity. So I have no doubt she schedules in periods of fun and periods of, where she can be free and flirty, and just because that feeds her art. So that makes a lot of sense. Now if this is on her ascendant, that explains why she's such a clear communicator and why she's incredibly charismatic, but also incredibly scary. This all falls into Matty's 9th house, where he also has this stellium. He doesn't have Mercury here. He's got the asteroid Vesta. This is all in his 9th house. It plays into his 10th house because he's got Capricorn on both his 9th and 10th house cusps. The MC, or the 10th house. I use Placidus, by the way, so deal with it if you don't. He has his midheaven, the highest point of his chart, lying in Capricorn with this stellium in the 9th. So he tells stories. That's part of his... I don't listen to his music. I think I've heard one song. I was interested to hear what he sounds like. He's very charismatic on stage, and he is a very good musician, and a very tortured one at that. So yeah, a lot of he's someone who's going to stand the test of time. He's someone who is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It's a much more it's a slower climb, much slower climb than Taylor's. And I think because of his relationship with her, and now he's been written about now. He's going to be like Harry Styles. And maybe he even knew that. If I get with Taylor Swift, it's going to increase my brand. It's going to make me more visible. It's going to introduce me to a whole new audience of people. I wouldn't be surprised if he thought that. Being with her, he's going to get clout. He's going to have more attention because she's got literally her placements, a personal placement, a very personal placement on his midheaven. Being with her expands that 9th and 10th house. I'm going to write about you. I'm going to talk about you. I'm going to put you into my mythology. He is now part of the Taylor Swift myth. Even if he's never going to be as big an artist as her, he has cemented his legacy with very little effort. Very little effort. He just had to break her little heart. So that makes a lot of sense. So being with her is making him more famous. Also, her North Node, this is the thing, her North Node with Venus, Vesta, her whole thing, like her mission in life is to find true love, right? So I do watch this fantastic YouTuber. He doesn't know who I am, but I know who he is because I'm a huge fan, Swiftologist. And he talks about Taylor Swift every episode almost, of course, because he's the Swiftologist. And he said, you know, Taylor's mission in life is to find true love. And that reflects precisely this placement. North Node in Aquarius. And that's with, it's not in a conjunction, but it is in the same sign as her Venus. Venus is love. Venus is, you know, when you have a North Node with Venus, you're literally, your destiny is to find love, to learn to love yourself, to learn to love others. That is what she has to do. This is playing, it's in her, like, if this is the correct time, this plays into her second house, as that's where Aquarius is. She has Aquarius on her second house cusp as a Capricorn rising. So this is also to do with money. This is also about the world, like sharing her world, sharing her work with the world. Aquarius governs the internet, the public. So yes, on a personal mission to find love, but on a personal mission to also increase her bank account and share the story with the whole world. You know, she is creating a myth around herself. This is playing out in Matty's 11th house of the public, the Aquarius house, right? So again, her placements, her personal placements are in a public house, making him more visible. I had no idea who this man was until last year when she broke up with Joe. She ended up for like a minute with this dude. I'd never heard of him before, never seen him before. He looked like the typical guy that I would like run into a bar in London in Camden. He looks like one of those like ratty dudes, right? So I had no idea. But yeah, she increased his profile. That's what this shows. Does he have any Aquarius placements that would, you know, make this, you know, meaningful? Not really. If he had a conjunction here, if he had like a personal placement Aquarius, I'd be like, oh, that's really sweet. But he doesn't. We'll have a look at the overall aspects to this because I'm sure that his Aries placement sextile this. But other than that, this is a pretty empty. There's no purpose here. Like yeah. And the reason why I decided to title this, You Taught Me a Language I Can't Speak with Anyone Else, is because I do think with this Mercury, this conjunction, this ninth house, like this is a very intellectual connection, a creative intellectual connection. They have worked together. They worked together on Midnights as far as I'm concerned. And I think they worked together on her re-record of 1989, which they scrapped because he ghosted her. Yeah, he ghosted her. Oh, what a bitch. Anyway, but they did have this genuine artistic cerebral connection. That's what this clusterfuck of Capricorn is all about. Intellectual planets playing out in an intellectual house. Makes sense. His North Node's in Pisces with his Pallas Athena, so that's all about genius. I need to look at that it looks like, is it 12th house? That's concerning. That's concerning. Let me know if you want me to do an individual chart on him, if you care enough, if I care enough. Now you're in my backyard, turned into good neighbors. He was always around. And didn't she live in the United Kingdom for a while because she was with Joe? So obviously he would have been quite nearby. Maybe, yeah. Maybe Illicit Affairs is about this situation. I mean, I don't know if there had to have been some overlappage. I'm listening to these songs. It's very clear that there was overlappage in between Joe and Matty, for sure. So, I mean, who really knows? He felt like home. If she has her fourth house cusp lying in Taurus and he has his ascendant and moon in Taurus, then he is going to open up this very intimate domestic house, right? It's a very deep connection. on her end anyway. Right? When someone has placements in your 4th house, they can be really frustrating because they know how to hurt you. Because your 4th house is, if your midheaven, your 10th house is who you are in the public space, then your 4th house is who you are when you're at home alone and you're vulnerable and you're naked and alone. I'm quoting it. Sometimes I speak in Taylor Swift lyrics. Anyway, he has this placement here. And of course, her 3rd house is in Aries, if this is the correct time for her birth. His Aries stellium falls into that 3rd house of neighbors and friends and peers. So, and this, whatever her birth time is, someone with Aries and Taurus placements are going to fill out an empty part of her chart. They're going to feel like a missing puzzle piece, right? So this is a very intimate synastry right here. Oh, and interesting. Can I just point something out? You know, Joe Alwyn is a Taurus moon with a Gemini Mars. So it's funny that she jumped from one guy to the other, and they've got very similar, their emotional natures and their sex drive and their like sexuality. Like they're very similar in that way. They're both artistic men as well. They're very brooding British artistic men who seem a little bit. They're similar. They're just in different fonts. Right? One looks more Boy Next Door, and the other one looks more like, you know, like he does a lot of coke. So, but they're both British. They're both artistic. They seem a little bit snooty and a bit pretentious. Taylor loves those types, snooty, pretentious people. But yeah, a Mars in Gemini, and there's also part of fortune here with Jupiter. Very ADHD, never satiated, never satisfied. And that fills out her, what would be likely an empty 6th house because she doesn't have any Gemini placements, right? And also it fills out her 5th house of leisure, pleasure. So he fills out these very empty houses. It's very interesting. So great chemistry. I could certainly see why she would fall in love with someone like this. I see a lot of love on her end. Don't know if I see a lot of love on his end. I think it was a bit of I'm quoting a song again. Feels like a bit of an experiment. I may be talking in Taylor Swift lyrics because I've been listening to this album a lot. I can fix him. No, really, I can. Oh, this wounded. Okay, so her moon and Jupiter fall into his 3rd and 4th house as well. Oh, so this must have, I meant a little bit. I do think she tickled something, some kind of intimate wound he has. He's got Chiron in Cancer, which is a wound of the mother, which all of you 1989 people have. This falls into his 3rd, and I'm going to say it plays into his 4th house because he has Cancer on both of these house cusps. I've seen an interview with his mum. What did she do? I'm sorry, like there's a wound of the mother here. There's some kind of, does anyone know what's happened with his parents, with his mother specifically? He has some kind of intimacy issue. He's got intimacy issues. He's got problems with women. I don't want to go as far as to say that he hates women, but I think there could be some resentment of women or some kind. He's experienced rejection by women. That could be his own mother. That could be his sisters. That could, because this plays into the 3rd house of siblings. There's some kind of wound with women. Did he get his heart broken when he was a teenager at school and just effed him up forever? Because sometimes that happens. Sometimes it happens. Like a boy has a heartbreak when he's 15, 16, and he never forgets. And he doesn't move on. And they just kind of stay in this like permanent adolescence until they're in their 40s or 50s. And then it's just, I've dealt with some. So I'm wondering if, being with her was at first comforting and then painful or suffocating. She could have really brought a lot to his intimate world, but she would have wanted him to face his intimacy issues. So maybe that's why he's so attractive. She's like, I could heal you. I could fix you. I can fix him. No, really, I can. Chiron is where you have insecurities and rejections. And And she literally, you know what? She's right. She could have not fixed him, but I think she could have helped him understand his own wounds. Maybe she did that anyway. And sometimes when someone touches your Chiron, they can reject you, but you can reject them and run away because it hurts too much, or it is stifling, or it is, you know, I do think being with her could have been quite suffocating as well. Given that she is this big machine, right? She's not just Taylor Swift. She's an industry. She's $1 billion business. So, and he would have been part of that had he stayed with her. And he just seems, he's the type of artist that doesn't want to be kept on a leash, right? He's got his own mythology. He's got his own music career. So I could understand why. I'm not saying it's right. I think it's a shitty thing to do, but I understand why maybe he ghosted. That's probably the easiest thing to do. He did sign those NDAs, so he needs to shut the fuck up. She will destroy him if she wants to. Maybe she already has. Because it wasn't sexy once it wasn't forbidden. He has Juno representing marriage, right? There's a few things in the chart that represent marriage. I would say Juno is more like that contractual agreement, like signing the document. It's not the most romantic aspect of marriage. I think that Jupiter, which is the husband of Juno, right? Jupiter represents marriage. Venus is obviously love. Those are the more romantic aspects of marriage. Juno's literally signing the contract. Okay, now his Juno is retrograde, so his Juno's retrograde, so there's some messed up marriages or messed up connections. It's in the 5th house of leisure and pleasure, so maybe he perceives, like when he's dating a woman, he wifes her up. Like when when you're with him, it feels like you're his wife, but it's just casual. That would mess me up, man. That's what Cancer men do to me. Like the Cancer men, they give you the wife treatment, but it means nothing. Anyway, Juno in the 5th house. Juno, the asteroid of commitment and marriage, in the 5th house of leisure and pleasure. The commitment has to be a pleasurable, casual experience, potentially. And then that falls into her 8th house, which is a marriage house. What he perceived as fun, she perceived as something that was more meaningful than it was. And this Lilith, he's got this Lilith here, and that's in her 9th house of travel. That's a little bit of a disgrace placement, actually. And then she did drag him around all over the world, didn't she? For a little bit, the month that they were dating, she did take him across the world, fly him in the jet. I bet that was a really difficult experience for both of them, actually, because I mean, everybody on her, especially her father, did not want him to be there. Anyway, if someone's Lilith falls into a public house, being with them likely, they could disgrace you. You know, it doesn't mean it's a horrible relationship. It just means you might get some blowback, right? You might get criticism. But yes, the destructive goddess of the dark feminine is falling into her 9th house. So yeah, not fun. Yeah. It wasn't sexy once it was forbidden. Because when it was forbidden, it felt like this, it felt more intimate. And then when everybody knew, it wasn't fun no more. I tell you something about my good name. It's mine alone to disgrace. And she certainly did, didn't she? And you know what? She may have disgraced herself publicly with him, but within their friendship circles, I think she's cut off a lot of people from him. She has her own royal court. He has his own he's like a minor noble. I feel like he's like a minor prince. Like if we're going to go back into the old days of medieval Europe, and she was a queen, he would have been like some like little duke in Germany or something, right? Like that's the vibe. And she has the bigger royal court. She could destroy his relationships. Certainly, one of the examples of this, of how she could destroy mutual connections for him, is the wedding of Jack Antonoff. Jack Antonoff uninvited him because Taylor was going to be there. So, yeah, Jack Antonoff probably won't be working with him anytime soon. The reason why I'm saying this is because Taylor has Mars, the planet of war and sex and power. It's a very powerful Mars. It's a very greedy, money-hungry Mars. I love you guys, by the way. Don't hate on me. I just know what you're like. I got a Mars in Capricorn. We're a little bit like that too. So that's no hate on you. It's a very motivated, very like intentional, careful Mars, and reckless when it needs to be. That's what I like about it. But it can be very destructive. So having this Martian planet playing out in his Venusian house of partnerships, she's going to sever some of his ties. She's going to burn the bridge and set fire to the moat. Like, that's what she's going to do. And of course, she has Lilith with Juno. She has Lilith and Juno doing a little dance here as well. So she I think she got in the Pluto's here. He transforms. He has the most transformation through 7th house partnerships, through both platonic friend and romantic connections. And that's great and everything. But being with her would have perpetuated that destructive and that destruction. While she may have disgraced herself publicly, he's disgraced himself privately, which I could argue is infinitely worse. A lot of people don't like him anymore within their circle. And, you know, the music world or Hollywood, these entertainment circles, they are quite small, right? Yeah. Ugh, this guy. Okay, so this is their chart. We're looking at the whole chart again. He is. I need to make something clear because it sounds like I don't particularly like him, and I kind of don't. I feel like if I met him, he seems so charming and he has great stage presence. I reckon he could probably talk me into liking him, probably. But he's a bad man. He's a very, very bad man. I think he is very impulsive, and while he is a very, an artistic genius of sorts, I think he's a very lost person, being a 12th and intercepted. Like, look at this. You see this? That's his ascendant in Taurus. That's his 12th house in Pisces. And then he's just, this Sun, Mercury, and Venus is just drowning and intercepted in here. And he's got a lot of wounds. And he's someone that lacks boundaries in his relationships, and he loves forbidden love. I mean, he's a 12th house Venus. It's kind of like having a Pisces Venus, kind of, not exactly, but having very impulsive, forbidden, taboo relationships. I have heard that he is he enjoys both men and women. So that's fine. That's I'm not like, it's fine that he does, but it's just an example of how he doesn't believe in these structures and traditions around relationships. Whereas, Taylor is looking for forever. She's looking, she wants, I know she's got a chaotic Venus. It's a very chaotic Venus, but she does want that one person forever. There is something very, American Girl Next Door, and traditional about her. He doesn't like that stuff. He's an artist, like, I just want to live off the fat of the land. I will say their Venuses are they're not exactly aspecting, but they are in better signs. Like, compared to her synastry with previous boyfriends, this is one of the better ones, Venus-wise. I mean, she has a Venus in Aquarius, he has a Venus in Aries. They both value freedom. But maybe that's the reason why he ghosted her, because being with her would be a trap. It would be like living in a goldfish bowl, and he can't do that. And yeah, he falls in love quickly, falls in love quickly, and falls out of love quickly. Venus in Aries. And I think he ran after her as much as she ran after him. She called him as soon as she was out of the slammer. Yes, I'm referencing another song. So yeah, this is like not an ideal, this is not an ideal synastry. There's a lot of passion here, there's a lot of connection here, there's a lot of creativity here, but it's not it's not the most practical relationship at all. Anyway, Taylor's moved on to a much more she's moved on with a guy who improves her image now. So she's enjoying that. And yeah, I don't know if he particularly cares. He's probably just happy with he's probably happy having, you know, been written into the mythology of Taylor Swift. He enjoys that very much. But yeah, he's got to deal with the Swifties for the rest of his life. Oh, such a bad move. Ooh. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Yeah. What do you think of Matty Healy? Do you listen to his music? What do you think? Do you have any song recommendations? We're all waiting for his next album because he's probably going to spill some tea on Taylor Swift. Like, maybe in some ways she has met her match creatively. I don't know. I feel like she's a better songwriter than he is. I feel like it's hard to beat Taylor Swift's songwriting. She's a wordsmith. We'll see what he does. If he's smart, he'll do what he will follow in the lead of Harry Styles and just be kind and be nice. Anyway, thank you so much, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. And thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right. Bye.